Hey guys, and welcome to another roleplay review done by me, Cedrienne, which is how you say the name. Um, it's been a long time since I've been called anything other than Mousy, but we've made the switch and we're going with it. Today I will be reviewing Essence of Horshal, which has been brought to my attention by Gota through the RPG directory, where I am currently a directory staff member now. Um, and Goda has specifically requested that we have a look at the guest process and how people would find their way around the site and perhaps why it's not getting as much activity as they were hoping for. Clearly, it's a site that Goda is very passionate about, which is fantastic. That is always what I'm very excited about. I love seeing people who have created something that they're really excited about, that they just want to put their lives into. So here we go. This is the front page. Um, and there's nothing really wrong here. There is nothing really wrong. One thing I would suggest is you've got your top bar up here that isn't stretching across to the same width of your forums. And you could probably do a little bit here to sort of clean it up. I know that the skin that you're currently using is one that's been pre-made and purchased, and that this is on IPS, which can be an absolute bugger to design right. But with a little bit of assistance from some of the resources that I know are out there, I'm sure you'd be able to modify this so that it looks a little bit cleaner. Maybe give yourself a full width banner and yeah, bring that all the way across. I think that would just even it up a little bit. It's not wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong about it, and the theme that you've chosen is beautiful and clean and lovely, and it's fantastic. But yeah, just little things like that not quite matching up with that edge there. And yeah, this is a gorgeous graphic, but it would be amazing if you had something that really brought people all the way in. One thing that appearance-wise, I am going to follow the RPGD review layout with my own sort of twists and turns. So we're doing appearance first, which I understand that you're not particularly interested in a detailed review of the appearance, but I'm going to bring a few things up just for your consideration as well. And one of those is the underlined links on here when there's no underlined links anywhere else. That can be because you've used the editor to create this block. If that's not something that you're confident in changing, in your CSS you should be able to, yep, so it's IPS type underscore rich text A. If you just not get rid of, but override it, you'll notice that just brings that a little bit, it matches it more with the rest of the board and makes it look not as sticky outy. And a little bit, I have a personal vendetta against underlined links. I have no idea why. It bothers me in a big way. One of the main other things that you brought up in your review request was that we look at the guest widget, which is, I love this. This is cute. This is cute as hell. Probably the only thing I would really suggest here is bringing this text size up. Where are we? So that's that block there. So where's your standard font size? Yeah, so let's say if you bring that up to 15 or even 16 or down to 14 is fine. What you'll find is that it sticks out more as a header rather than just a random bit of writing that's on there. You could even do something fun like make this bit a bit bigger. This could be awesome as sort of more of a full width banner text. Just really create some visual interest in that and really draw the guest's eye to it, because at the moment it sort of blends in a bit, with the exception of the image. It doesn't really stick out as a, this is where I can find the information that I need to get moving. Which you might find means people are kind of overlooking the guest widget. It might be something that they assume is there all the time. I know when I first loaded the page, I sort of took me a minute to find the guest widget, even though it was right there in front of my face. So yeah, never assume that things are obvious enough on the internet. Never assume that things are obvious enough in the world. You can always really draw people's attention to the things that you want them to see straight up. Don't rely on any sort of subtlety, is basically what I'm saying there. As for the colour scheme, I love this colour scheme. I love light blue on grey. It makes me happy. It's nice to look at. And we've got the block style forums, which personally, not my thing. Definitely not my thing, but if they are your thing, that is awesome. They're very simple, very nice. You got your little icons there. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It might be a little bit odd and it might put off people who don't really understand that life isn't all about things looking the same, if you know what I mean. But people will be scared of anything that's different, and that's one of the things that you're really going to have as a challenge running an IPS board. I've always found that it's very hard to sort of get people past that. It's what you know, but it's different. But when you get those people past it, the ones that do make the effort, they are always worth it. I do find that as well. You get a lot less of the sort of wishy-washy, come and go sort of people, because once someone's made an effort and really invested in learning how your system works, they stick around. And I've had some of the same people stick with me for about 10 years or more, so that's something you can look forward to. But yeah, probably the next thing that I would mention is, I'm sort of combining appearance and layout here a bit, is that you don't have a stats box. It's not an issue. If you don't want a stats box, don't have a stats box. But I do like to see when I come onto a site how many people have been around, who's active, who's not active, when the latest member was registered. I like to see who's online now, and you know how many posts there are, and all those. I'm a numbers girl. I love my numbers. If you don't want to have it, don't have it. There is no one forcing you to have a stats box, but I do generally expect to sort of see it down the bottom here. And I love that you've got the Discord full width at the bottom. That makes me very happy. Although again, this is at full width when you've got a narrow window, but when you expand out, you've got this gap here that it could be expanding into as well. It's just little things like that that can make a big difference too. The sticky bar at the top makes me very happy. I am such a lazy person. I tend to stick a couple of links up here too that I can get to the places I want to go to really fast. Like the latest activity is one that I love, and a home button. Other two that I tend to have on a top bar. Just so that, you know, if I'm clicking around, I can be like, okay, I want to go see what's been posted in the last, you know, since I checked before. So that's probably the last of my commentary on your front page. It's a good clean look that you've got going. It's not what I would do, but It's what you're doing. And anything that I say throughout this entire process, if you don't agree with it, don't do it. I am never going to be offended that you chose not to take up my advice, because you know what? This is your happy place. All I'm doing is giving you some ideas on on other ways that you might be able to do things if they appeal to you. So, getting into the actual layout of the forums, one thing that I did sort of find was that I was a little bit confused as to where to go next. So, ignoring that we've got the guest widget here, that is an awesome thing to have. If I was just browsing down the forums as a guest, I have no idea what to start with. You've got your out of character here, which is awesome. You've got general here, which I would probably change the name of that to something like rules and information, or just something that more accurately describes that this is somewhere that you can go to find out things about this site. I know it's not your full information section, but you could also have a redirect forum that does lead to your information section. Remember that a lot of the members that are coming across from places like JSync and ProBoards and all of the other forum hosts are going to be so used to having the information section as part of a forum that that's where they're going to look immediately. One of the ways that we got around that was that we had our drop downs, and initially we had a redirect forum as well, and a get started guide that linked to all of the individual pages. It can be a bit of a jump for some people, so having something in that area, something here that indicates that this is a good place to start if you're looking around the forum, that will go a long way to sort of easing that transition. Going back to the guest widget, one of the things that I probably noticed was that you've got the guide to play by post RP listed at the top, which again is a fantastic thing to have, but probably not the one that you want to lead with. What you want to lead with, and I haven't looked at these in depth yet, is probably your newcomer's guide. So that's going to be your guide that shows people who have some familiarity with forum roleplay where they need to go, what they need to know to apply a character, and the process for doing so. You want to lead with that. That's going to be the most applicable to most of your guests. At the bottom, you sort of want to include, if you've never roleplayed on a forum before, we'd still love to have you. Here's our guide to play by post RP. That way, because what I sort of did when I first loaded this up was I saw that there was a very, very super beginner's guide and skipped over the rest. So you want to lead with your most relevant content, which is going to be this one. And the other thing that you would want to sort of adjust here is, rather than just having the word guide highlighted, highlight newcomer's guide as the full link, so that it's very clear that this is where someone who's new to the site, who's interested in finding out more and knowing how to apply, this is where they go. Still on layout, something that I didn't really notice when I first clicked through was these links up here, and this is where all of your important stuff is. You've got your newcomers guide links, you've got your stories and events, and you've got your bounty lists, you've got your world building, which is just straight up incredible, and then you've got your RP database, which has got your members and characters and all that sort of stuff, and then the rest of the links that are applicable to your site. This kind of fades into the background and is not as easy to sort of notice as being important, which is where we go back to having something here that will help pointer people to that content. Because this is clearly where the majority of your information is going to be. You need people to be able to find it. Even if that means adding to the box in here to sort of say, here's our world information. And general database may not be the best name for it either. You might want to call this rules and information or something similar so that it's very clear that this is where people go to get started. Okay, so where did I go next? So for some reason I've got general info about races here. I've opened things in a very strange order apparently. So this is nice, it's concise, a good general info. There's nothing here that's too much. You've got your more detailed lists here. I do love custom races. They can be overwhelming, but it's what you're doing. You're here to build a world. Don't ever be put off by people that are just too scared of a little bit of research. You'll find the people who are eager to do it and to build this with you. They are out there. It's trying to find that moment where you're happy with what you've got and other people are able to come and enjoy it before you end up sacrificing things because it's easier for other people. Don't sacrifice your dream because it's easier for other people. That's just terrible. But yeah, you've got your headings there. That's good. But I would probably have something about these guys in here as well, because you've got a nice big bit on these guys. I'm not even going to try and say it. I'm so sorry. I can't. I'm gonna mangle it. Maybe even give these headers like this here with crossbreeding. Just little stuff like that. You've got a really good idea here, basically. But yeah, I like that you've separated the biggest differences between these two groups. That's a good way to do it. And you've got your races here and these ones here. So they are... Oh, these are good. This is cute. I love this. Very cute. Nice and concise. Nothing overwhelming there, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that people could get their heads around that. I'm just going to click through a couple of these. I'm loving this art. It's very cool. Oh dear. Yeah, nothing really overwhelming here. So anyone who says that it's too hard to learn your races isn't trying. You've got your ages here. Nice and concise. Information where there needs to be information, that's always good. Obviously. But you haven't expanded unnecessarily on things that aren't really relevant. And then, there's a summary. I would probably change this from the title summary to here, this summary of Horshal's history. Again, because you're going to have people clicking through, and when you look at stuff like this, where your titles very clearly match what's going to happen, what's contained in there, having just summary, it could be, well, we know it's a summary of the ages because we're in the ages category, but just having summary of history or ages or something like that will go a long way in the titles. Historical events, nice. So yeah, you've got a lot of really good world building stuff here. Um, but yeah, there's nothing too overwhelming, and then you've also got this, which is Law for Beginners, which is fantastic and not incredibly long. Good job. I love that. That's you've got to keep things nice and simple with links so that people can follow on to more information if they are more curious about a particular thing, which is exactly what you've done. So that's always an excellent place to start, and then you've linked to the relevant databases. I wouldn't say that this is problematic. This is not problematic at all. This has been done really well. You've got this set right. Or at least how I would. Okay, so let's have a look at your guide for newcomers. It's not overly long. So you've linked to your Law for Beginners. You've got a bit of information on choosing a race, how to join, and then we get to character creation. Okay. So you've got the IPS character mod, which is awesome. The only thing I'm not seeing here is if you've got an approval process, what that is, what it entails, and possibly even how long people could expect before their characters are accepted. If this is something that applies, if it's not, even just note that in there, as sort of a bit of a thing. Just let them know that once their character has been posted, they're free to start posting, or chill out and wait while we review your character and approve it, or however you want to put it. That's actually a terrible way to put it, but yeah. But possibly it might be worth rejigging this into sort of, if you consider the way that the processes that a person goes through when they join a site, talk them through it step by step. So you've got the first thing they want to know is, how do I create an account? Second thing they want to know is, what do I need to know to create a character? So that's where you'd link them to this sort of stuff. Third thing they want to know is, how do I apply my character? Which is where we get to this bit. And the fourth bit they want to know is, what do I do after my character has been accepted, or I've posted my character if you don't have an approval process. So think about the main steps that people are going to take in joining your site and sort of organize this into that same flow. That way, as they're going down the list, they can sort of tick off one by one the bits and pieces that they are working with. I find that's generally the best approach for a beginner's guide or a quick start guide. Other things that are useful to include are things like encouraging them to post an introduction or join the Discord, or things like that sort of help them get a foothold in the community as they are becoming a member. And that way you sort of guide them through the whole process of becoming a member for the first time. And yeah, I find that very effective. And then yeah, you've got ways to contact the staff, which is always good. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. As I said, the only thing I'd probably do is change the order of it a little bit, just to sort of better represent the processes people go through when they are joining a site, if that makes sense. So, rules. nice and simple. I love simple. You are so good at simple and clean, and two thumbs up for that. Yep, usual things. I'm not quite sure what, however, implying it is okay. I think what you mean there is that explicit sexual content is accepted where it must occur, um, but you might want to clarify that. That's probably, I think that's what that one means, but yeah, probably something to reword there. I always love this. I have a thing where if I start seeing the same words come up, I don't mind swearing. I swear a lot. But if I see the same words come up in character over and over and over again, it's not clever, it's not funny, it's very rarely relevant to the character. Um, I always threaten to change the filters to make them sound ridiculous. So far, I haven't had a problem. Since that one time I actually had to do it, it was great. One thing here, this could be a little bit intimidating for someone who doesn't understand how this works. Um, Naming conventions are always a bit interesting because you've got so many custom races and homelands. Just be very wary of the expectations that you put on people. Not that they shouldn't comply, but make sure they understand that if they don't know what to do, that there are places they can go to find out, that they're not going to be banned straight up because they chose wrong, and things like that. Because you always want people to feel like it's okay to make a mistake. Because we know all too well there's plenty out there that just don't don't allow for that. Terrible admins out there that everyone's got a horror story about. They're the ones that we are sitting here apologizing for. It's great. But yeah, just make sure that everything that you ask of your members, you also include that it's okay if they mess it up. We'll fix it if they need help. You've got people there to assist. Um, that there's people who are more than willing to offer suggestions or even have lists of names that work for particular homelands and races and such, just so there's some sort of resource people can go to if they're feeling a little bit anxious about complying with your naming conventions. Because yeah, those little resources can go a long way. Okay, so that's fine. I did notice that your avatars are illustration only, which is absolutely fantastic and fine. It is always going to be your choice, but one thing you will find is that it will turn people away. There's a lot of people who are quite attached to their real life playbys, and that's perfectly fine for them. It's not your thing. You don't need them. So I wouldn't be too stressed about that, but it is a thing that you're going to come across. So just be aware of that. There's all sorts of silly things that are going to sort of limit your audience more than you would like, but that just means you've got to find the people that it does fit, and they are out there. As I said before, they are out there. And then we've got the current characters. It's very clear that what you've got here is just an unbelievable amount of work has gone into this. Like, this is amazing. I am genuinely so impressed with the amount of work that's here. Like, I could never do this. I really couldn't. It's taken me 10 years to get what I've got. So, you've got some awesome stuff here. But yeah, it is a little bit scattered in the information, so just really think through that process of joining for people. I think that's the best advice that I can give you, is just start from the perspective of a guest and work your way through. Is the next step easy to find? If it's not, it needs to be in your quick start guide. Is the next are people going to understand where they need to go to apply a character? Are they going to understand what they need to do as a player? Is there somewhere they can go to introduce themselves? Is there all those sorts of things that people sort of go through when they join a site? Just list them out. Even ask your existing members or other members on resource sites or wherever you go to get your support. Ask them how they go about joining sites, the things that they look for, and most importantly, the order of that process. Because that's going to guide how you organize things through your forum. And it's all a matter of trial and error and finding a way that suits you. But your actual information is fine. The amount of it is fine. You've got quick start guides for everything that could possibly be overwhelming. You've got an amazing amount of development here. It would be really sad to see no one else enjoy this as much as you do. So I definitely wish you all the best. You've got something absolutely fantastic here, and I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them for me. And yeah, best of luck.